I was diagnosed with cancer, but my family never came to the hospital. I texted our family group chat, "When will you visit me?" My mother replied, "I'm too busy right now." "Anyway, how much savings do you have?" My sister added, "If you don't need the money anymore, can I use it?" So I quietly left the group chat. They had no idea what would happen next. On an early summer morning in Boston, Massachusetts, the sunrise streaming through Sophia Bennett's apartment window cast a bright light into her design studio. Sophia used a room in her luxe condominium as both home and workspace, where she ran her graphic design firm, Creative Vision. Posters of famous brands she had designed adorned the walls. As Sophia took a sip of coffee and checked her schedule on her tablet, she saw that today she had a presentation for a major cosmetics company. She massaged her forehead. She had been troubled by headaches for the past few weeks. "Here it comes again," she whispered. At first, she thought it was just fatigue, but lately the pain had intensified. As she prepared for work, Sophia's cell phone rang, displaying Mom on the screen. She hesitated but answered, "Good morning, Mom." "Sophia, finally you answered. I've been calling since yesterday." Margaret Bennett's voice was tinged with her usual impatience and dissatisfaction. She lived with her husband, Thomas, in an upscale suburban neighborhood outside Boston. "Is something wrong?" Sophia asked concisely. "Emily's car loan payments are overdue. She's been overusing her credit cards again." Sophia inwardly sighed with frustration. This was the usual content of calls from her mother, either consulting about her sister, Emily's endless money problems, or asking, "How's your business doing? Mom, Emily is already 30. Shouldn't she handle this herself? My goodness, how cold of you. Since you're successful, isn't it natural for you to help your family?" When had her relationship with her family become like this? Sophia wondered. Since childhood, her mother, Margaret, had always been materialistic, more interested in the income Sophia's talent could generate than the talent itself. Her father, Thomas, a retired banker, was a shadow in the household, overshadowed by her mother. And then there was her sister Emily, who had been spoiled by their parents and was obsessed with luxury brands and her social media life. That afternoon, Sophia successfully completed her presentation, but on the way home, she was suddenly struck by dizziness. This wasn't mere fatigue. Something was wrong. The next morning, Sophia made an urgent appointment with her primary physician, Dr. Carter. After she explained her headaches, dizziness, and occasional nausea, the doctor examined her with a serious expression. "Let's get an MRI, just to be safe, doctor," Carter said quietly. A few days later, Sophia visited the hospital again to hear the results. Upon entering the examination room, she immediately noticed that Dr. Carter's expression was different than usual. "Miss Bennett, Sophia," the doctor continued, carefully choosing her words, "we have your MRI results. A tumor has been found in your brain." Sophia felt frozen. The doctor's words seemed to come from far away. "Would you like to contact your family, doctor?" Carter's voice brought her consciousness back to reality. "Family?" Sophia murmured. She took out her cell phone and opened her family's group chat. With trembling hands, she typed a message. "Everyone, I have something important to tell you. Today, my doctor diagnosed me with a brain tumor. I need treatment urgently. Can anyone come to the hospital?" After pressing the send button, Sophia gripped her smartphone tightly while waiting for her family's response. Anxiety and hope mingled in her heart. The chat notification sounded and Sophia looked at the screen. It was a reply from her mother, "I'm busy right now." "By the way, how much savings do you have?" Sophia stared at the screen again in disbelief. Then a message from Emily arrived. "If you don't need your money anymore, can I have it?" There was no response from her father. Tears fell from Sophia's eyes. "Doctor!" Carter silently placed a hand on her shoulder. In the quiet of the examination room, Sophia firmly gripped her smartphone and silently left the family group chat. And in that moment, she resolved to fight alone. Never again would she rely on family who couldn't recognize her worth. "Doctor, Please tell me more about my treatment options, Sophia said, wiping away her tears and straightening her back. I'm ready to face this on my own. The hallways of Boston General Hospital were always filled with the distinct scent of disinfectant and quiet footsteps. Sophia had just finished her first chemotherapy session and was slowly returning to her room, pressing against the needle mark from the fourth. The afternoon sunlight streamed through the window, tinting the clean linen bed with gold. How was it? Must have been tough, said Grace Thompson, emerging from the nurse's station with a kind voice. An African-American woman in her mid-60s, she had over 30 years of experience as the head nurse of the cancer ward. In the 2 weeks since Sophia's admission, Grace had become her emotional support. It wasn't as bad as I imagined, Sophia smiled weakly. But I feel tired. Grace supported her arm as they walked together to the bed. Everyone's anxious about their first treatment, but you're very strong. You'll get through this. Sophia nodded gratefully. Did you know patients fighting illness alone with no visitors? Grace sat on the edge of Sophia's bed and took her hand. Sometimes yes, but you're not alone. We're here for you. Holding back the emotions rising in her throat, Sophia said, Grace, can I talk about my family? Grace nodded silently. Sophia began to speak about the day of her diagnosis and her family's cold response. Her voice trembled at times, but she needed to get all the words out. I've completely cut ties with them. I left the group chat and blocked their phone numbers because... Sophia's voice caught. Because to them, I was just a wallet. Grace listened quietly without interrupting. Sometimes there are things more important than blood ties the family you choose. Sophia nodded. Grace's words brought a strange comfort. That night, Sophia couldn't sleep. Her body was tired from the treatment's side effects, with headaches and fatigue, but her mind was restless. In the dim light of her hospital room, she took out a sketchbook from the bedside table drawer. Although her work as a designer was temporarily on hold, creative expression was her healing. Sophia picked up a pencil and unconsciously began to draw lines. At first, they were random curves, but gradually, a form emerged. A woman sitting by a window, lonely, but with a quiet strength. Who is this? Grace asked when she found the sketchbook the next morning. Maybe it's me, Sophia smiled, or who I want to become. It's lovely. Grace lightly touched her shoulder. How are you feeling today? A little better, Sophia answered. It wasn't a lie. Her physical condition was the same, but her heart felt a bit lighter. Several days passed, and Sophia was getting used to life in the hospital when she was hit by a wave of weakness again. It was a day when the treatment's side effects were strong, and she experienced frequent nausea. Lying in bed, she suddenly remembered her family, the chicken soup her mother made when she was bedridden with the flu as a child, there's always next time her father said when she failed her college entrance exam. Such memories suddenly resurfaced. What are you thinking about? Grace asked as she entered the room and saw Sophia lost in thought. My family? Sophia answered honestly. I'm beginning to wonder if they were really such terrible people. Grace sat beside her. Relationships are complex. There are both good and bad memories. Sophia picked up her smartphone. She had blocked her family's contacts, but she should still be able to send messages. After hesitating for a long time, she recreated the family group chat and sent a simple message, "When are you coming to visit me?" After pressing the send button, Sophia felt a tightness in her chest. What was she expecting? They couldn't have changed. Still, in a corner of her heart, she thought that after a month since her diagnosis, her family might have grown concerned about her condition. About 10 minutes later, the first reply came. It was from her mother. I'm busy right now. By the way, how much savings do you have? Sophia's hands trembled. Immediately, another reply came, this time from her sister, Emily. If you don't need your money anymore, can I have it? Time seemed to stop. Sophia stared at the smartphone screen and noticed the text looked blurry. Tears were streaming down her cheeks. She quietly left the group chat and this time deleted the app entirely. Then she put her smartphone on the bedside table and covered her face with both hands. Her sobs, echoing in the room, expressed the pain welling up from deep within her heart. "What happened?" Grace rushed into the room and sat beside her. Sophia showed her the message history on the smartphone screen with trembling hands. Grace quietly muttered a curse and embraced Sophia tightly. "They are not my family," Sophia said, wiping away her tears. "I'll never contact them again. I'm erasing them from my life." That night, Sophia fell into a deep sleep for the first time in a while. It wasn't exhaustion from despair, but a serenity that came from a certain resolution and determination. She had cut ties with people who didn't understand her worth and resolved to live the rest of her life for herself. The next morning, when the sunrise streaming through the hospital room window illuminated her face, Sophia felt the beginning of a new day. She picked up her sketchbook and opened a new page. Today, although she was in the same hospital room as yesterday, something was different. About 3 weeks after Sophia's hospitalization, a new patient was brought to the ward. While watching the bed being brought in through the window, she saw an elegant elderly woman with white hair being surrounded by nurses as she entered. Around the old woman, several men in expensive suits were attending to her, giving instructions for everything from preparing the room to meeting with the doctors. "Seems like a very important person," Sophia said when Grace entered the room. "That's Victoria Hamilton," Grace answered in a low voice. "The founder of Hamilton Properties, the real estate mogul. She's a billionaire." Sophia nodded. Hamilton Properties was known as one of the leading real estate development companies on the East Coast, owning many luxury properties from Boston to New York. "What illness does she have?" "That's private," Grace gently admonished. "But since she's in the same ward as you can figure it out." That afternoon, as Sophia was walking down the hall for rehabilitation, she stopped in front of Victoria's room. The door was slightly open, and inside, Victoria was sitting alone on the bed, staring out the window. The entourage that had surrounded her earlier had disappeared. "Hello," Sophia found herself saying. Victoria turned around and, despite her tired expression, offered a gentle smile. "Well, hello there. I'm sorry to intrude. I'm Sophia Bennett. I'm in the next room." Victoria Hamilton, the elderly woman, extended her hand. "Please come in. I was just wishing for someone to talk to." Sophia entered the room and sat in the chair next to Victoria. She was poised for her 78 years, with a face deeply lined with wrinkles that showed intelligence and kindness. "Are you in treatment too?" Victoria asked frankly. "Yes, brain tumor," Sophia answered. Normally, she would avoid talking about illness, but here, as fellow patients, there was no need to hide. "I see. I have pancreatic cancer, stage 3, Victoria said quietly. "The doctors keep talking hopefully, but at my age, I don't have much time left." "Don't say that," Sophia blurted out. "Treatment's just begun, right?" Victoria looked a bit surprised at Sophia's frankness, then laughed. "You're right. I shouldn't jump to conclusions." Their conversation gradually moved from illness to other topics. Sophia talked about her graphic design work, and Victoria shared her long experience in the real estate industry. "It wasn't easy starting a business as a woman alone in the 60s, Victoria reminisced, "but I had no choice. My husband died early, and I had no children. That must have taken a lot of courage," Sophia admired. "You too. Starting your own design company." Over the next few days, Sophia and Victoria began to meet regularly. On days when Sophia felt well, she visited Victoria's room, and on days when Victoria was energetic, she came to Sophia's room. The two shared their lives, dreams, and fears. One day, Sophia opened up about her family, the way they had responded when she was diagnosed, and their cold attitude when she contacted them again. "My parents couldn't see my worth," Sophia said quietly. "My sister either. To them, I was just an ATM." Victoria listened quietly. "Family can sometimes inflict the deepest wounds," she said. "I had similar experiences when I was young." Sophia was surprised. "You too?" "Yes. When I got married, my parents disowned me because my husband's social status was low. We started our business together. Even after he passed away, my parents refused reconciliation. How did you overcome it? I created a new family with people who knew my value. Victoria smiled. Blood ties aren't the only family. There's also the family you choose with your heart. Those words resonated deeply with Sophia. On a quiet afternoon, Victoria sat on the bed, looking at Sophia's sketchbook. She turned the pages, expressing admiration for Sophia's designs. You truly have talent, Victoria said. These designs are so modern and sophisticated. Thank you, Sophia smiled. Design is my passion. Victoria was silent for a while, thinking. Sophia, I have a proposal for you. What is it? I don't have children. I have nephews and nieces, but they're all after my fortune, Victoria said with a serious expression. I've really enjoyed our conversations these past few weeks. I'm impressed by your intelligence, creativity, and strength. Sophia listened silently. If you agree, I would like to legally adopt you as my daughter. Sophia was speechless with surprise. Victoria, I don't mean to rush you. Victoria took her hand. Take as much time as you need to think about it. But why me? We've only known each other for a few weeks. Sometimes, in a few weeks, bonds can form that couldn't be built in a lifetime, Victoria answered quietly. I believe you have the ability to continue my business, but more than that, you have the qualities of the daughter I've been looking for. Tears welled up in Sophia's eyes. Victoria, you don't need to answer right away, Victoria said gently. Just remember that both of us may not have much time. That night, Sophia lay awake, thinking. Victoria's proposal was unexpected, but it certainly resonated in her heart. She valued her relationship with this elderly woman. Though it was a relationship cultivated in a short time, it was based on a depth of understanding and respect incomparable to that with her biological family. The next morning, Sophia visited Victoria's room. Victoria was sitting in a chair by the window, basking in the morning sun. Good morning, Victoria. Good morning, Sophia. Victoria turned around. Did you sleep well? Not really, Sophia smiled. I had a lot to think about. Victoria nodded quietly. I'd like to accept your proposal, Sophia said with determination. Though we've only known each other for a short time, I feel our bond is special. A happy smile spread across Victoria's face. Really? Yes. You taught me that blood ties aren't the only family. Remember? The two embraced tightly. In that moment, the oppressive air of the hospital room seemed to clear instantly. That afternoon, Victoria's lawyer visited the hospital with the necessary documents. At 35 years old, Sophia began the process of officially becoming Victoria Hamilton's adopted daughter. Around the same time, Sophia's treatment was also reaching a turning point. The tumor had begun to shrink, and the doctors reported a better-than-expected response. Look at this! Sophia rushed into Victoria's room with the MRI results. They say the tumor has shrunk by 20%. Victoria greeted her with a smile. That's wonderful! We should celebrate. The two discussed future plans while eating ice cream in the hospital cafeteria. When Sophia regained her health, they would start new projects, incorporating her design sense into Victoria's business, and also about a new home to live in together. It was the beginning of a story of a new family that two women found in each other within the confined space of a hospital. 6 months had passed since Sophia became Victoria's adopted daughter. The tumor had significantly reduced with surgery and chemotherapy, and the doctors were amazed at her recovery. Sophia was recuperating at Victoria's luxurious Beacon Hill mansion while gradually returning to work. At the breakfast table, Victoria was reading the newspaper and drinking coffee. Sophia was eating a grapefruit while checking her latest design project on her tablet. Sophia, look at this! Victoria pointed to the business section of the newspaper. There's an article about Hamilton Properties' new charitable activities. Sophia read the article. Victoria had donated $20 million to Boston Children's Hospital to establish a new cancer research center. At the end of the article, it stated, Hamilton has recently welcomed graphic designer Sophia Bennett as her adopted daughter and revealed that she will be the heir to Hamilton Properties. Victoria, it says here about me. Yes, I know, Victoria smiled. I was asked at the press conference, so I answered honestly that you are my adopted daughter and will be my business successor. Sophia felt a warmth in her chest. She and Victoria had built a true mother-daughter relationship over these months. Victoria highly valued her design talent and had begun incorporating Sophia's ideas into new projects at Hamilton Properties. I didn't intend to announce it this way, Sophia said. Now my biological family might find out about it. Victoria reached out and took Sophia's hand. Are you worried about that? No, Sophia shook her head. I've completely cut ties with them. I changed my contact information and moved out of my old apartment. They won't find me. A few days later, Sophia finished a meeting at Hamilton Properties headquarters and returned to the mansion with Victoria's driver. Upon entering, the housekeeper, Dorothy, greeted her with an anxious expression. Miss Bennett, there are guests waiting for you in the reception room. Guests? Who? They said they were from the Bennett family, your mother, and Sophia felt her heart leap. My biological family is here? Yes. They strongly requested to see you. Sophia took a deep breath. Where's Victoria? She's out for a doctor's appointment. She's expected to return in about an hour. Sophia thought for a moment, then nodded. I understand. I'll see them. Opening the door to the reception room, she found Margaret, Thomas, and Emily seated there. Her mother wore an expensive dress, her father a suit with a tie. Emily was dressed in the latest branded clothes and stood up as soon as she saw Sophia. Sophia, Emily tried to approach but stopped at Sophia's cold expression. Why are you here? Sophia asked calmly. And how did you find me? We saw the newspaper, Margaret answered. A fake smile was on her face. You becoming that Victoria Hamilton's adopted daughter, I can't believe it. I was surprised, Thomas also spoke. Why didn't you tell us? Sophia looked at them coldly. When I was diagnosed with a brain tumor, what did you do for me? A moment of silence filled the room. At that time, I was confused, Margaret said, as if making excuses. I've been worried about you all along. We tried to contact you many times, Thomas lied, but your number had changed. Stop lying, Sophia said quietly. Do you remember the last messages you sent me when I asked again? When are you coming to visit me? Mom replied. I'm busy right now. By the way, how much savings do you have? Emily said. If you don't need your money anymore, can I have it? Emily blushed. Margaret cleared her throat, and Thomas stared at the floor. But that's in the past. Margaret quickly changed her expression. Let's be together again as a family. We sincerely want to celebrate your recovery. Yes, sis, Emily said tearfully. We truly regret it. We couldn't bear to lose you. Sophia saw through the true intentions behind their words. Greed gleamed in their eyes. It wasn't concern for her, but desire for Victoria's fortune. I'm not your family anymore, Sophia said quietly but firmly. You abandoned me when I really needed you. Don't pretend to be family now. What are you saying? Margaret's voice rose. Just because a famous billionaire adopted you, you're denying blood ties? That's ridiculous. Emily also raised her voice. You were just lucky. We should have the same rights. Finally, their true feelings were revealed. So, it's about money, Sophia smiled sadly. I thought so. Are you planning to monopolize that old woman's money? Margaret shouted in anger. What about your family? You should share with us. Get out. Sophia stood up and pressed the intercom button. You're not my family anymore. Sophia, calm down, Thomas said anxiously. We just want to talk. The sound of a door opening came from the entrance. Victoria seemed to have returned home earlier than expected. When she entered the reception room, she understood the situation at a glance. Hello, Victoria said calmly. You must be Sophia's former family. You, Margaret stood up. You stole my daughter! I didn't steal anyone, Victoria replied with dignity. Sophia made her choice as an adult. When you abandoned her, I was by her side. 2 security staff entered the room. The Bennett family is leaving now, Victoria told them. This is over. We'll contact you through our lawyer, Margaret threatened. Please do, Victoria smiled. I have the best legal team. Led by security staff, the 3 members of the Bennett family were escorted out of the mansion. As the door closed, Sophia exhaled deeply. Are you okay? Victoria placed a hand on her shoulder. Yes, Sophia nodded. Now I can truly end it. That night, Victoria and Sophia drank tea by the fireplace, discussing the day's events. They might not give up, Victoria said, but we're together. I've made my choice, Sophia smiled. My real family. Outside the window, the night view of Boston was beautifully illuminated. In that light, Sophia saw a new beginning. Freed from the bonds of blood relations, she felt true freedom for the first time. Thank you all for coming today. Sophia greeted the people gathered in the large conference room with a confident voice. It was the opening ceremony of the Hamilton Bennett Cancer Research Center at Boston Children's Hospital. 2 years had passed since her cancer was completely cured. Victoria was also seated on the platform. She had overcome her illness and was walking a new life path with Sophia. Together they ran Hamilton Properties, bringing fresh innovation to the industry with real estate projects that incorporated the design sensibilities of the younger generation. Our foundation aims to support cancer patients and their families, Sophia continued. Illness corrodes not only the body but also the soul. However, with the right support, people can rise again. In the audience were Dr. Carter, who had been in charge of Sophia's treatment, and head nurse Grace. They had warmly watched over Sophia's recovery and success. After her speech, Sophia held a book signing. Her book, which was both a record of her battle with illness and an inquiry into the true meaning of family, had become a bestseller nationwide. Your book gave me courage, one young woman said. I too overcame cancer with the support of people who weren't relatives. Sophia squeezed her hand and said, You are not alone. This was the central message of her book. That evening, a letter arrived at Sophia's office. It was an envelope from a law firm. Inside was a note about her biological family's recent situation. Her mother, Margaret, and father, Thomas, had lost their house mortgage due to Emily's gambling addiction and were financially ruined. The letter included a request for assistance from Emily. Sophia thought for a while and consulted with Victoria. I'll support whatever decision you make, Victoria said, but keeping hatred will only hurt you. The next day, Sophia sent a letter through her foundation, proposing Emily's participation in an employment assistance program. She added the message, just giving doesn't change anything. Let's help you become self-reliant. After sending the letter, Sophia was watching the sunset with Victoria on the terrace of the Beacon Hill mansion. The decision I'm most proud of in my life is welcoming you as my daughter, Victoria said quietly. Sophia squeezed her hand, and I have never regretted accepting you as my mother. The two looked at the Boston skyline, tinged with the sunset, and talked about their future. Though they had no blood ties, they had become a true family, bound by their souls. Sometimes, life brings unexpected developments. Through the trial of illness, Sophia had found her own worth and discovered a family based on true love and respect. Her story continued to give hope to many people. Tomorrow will be another wonderful day, Victoria said. Yes, with us together it surely will be, Sophia smiled.